My goodness, if you could smell this studio. Oh, it smells amazing because, of course, we have the 3 chefs here. Come on in here, guys. I missed you. Happy New Year. Jason Parsons, Randy Feltus, good to see you all. Haven't seen you since the holiday special. Thank you so much for everything. My goodness, we had such a great time. Now we get back. It's January. We go to the grocery store. We are slapped across the face with food prices. It is expensive. My question to you, I'm going to throw it out to you guys, because as someone that's just cooking for a family, you think, ouch. But then as someone who owns a restaurant, you must be feeling the pain of these high food prices.
We're feeling the no sleep. Honestly, we're up at night going, why does hamburger cost this much money?
Why it's so expensive? Why do you think it's so expensive right now? What is it?
Well, there is a shortage of beef, right? I mean, that's one for the meat being so expensive. Also, it's wintertime. Generally, wintertime is always prices go up because we are buying everything that comes from south of the border. So our dollar is not doing very well for buying. So there is problems with environment in California and various other places. So, I mean, the food production is a little bit lower, and that's what we got.
And what do you end up doing? That's the big thing right now.
That's the big thing,
You know, the weather is really throwing curveballs throughout. You know.
What do you do about that as a restaurant owner? I mean, we're going to learn what to do about it at home in our houses, but I mean, you've got the menu. You can't reprint the entire menu and change all the prices. Do you take things off the menu?
Well, yeah, you have to, because we deal in a ceiling world, and people come into the restaurant and they know what they want to spend. And just because the food prices go up doesn't necessarily mean you can hike your prices. So you got to get smart, like what we're going to do today.
Well,
there are a lot of vegetables out there that are not as expensive, have better shelf life. I mean, you want to always buy local because then it's it's from the farm, so you're not paying for all that transportation stuff like that.
That's right.
In the winter it's a little tough, but there are winter things that are cellared. Apples and pears and things that are cellared up, and they're not that expensive.
You got to get real creative. So what we're going to do, and Jason, we're going to get you to start. We're going to take a whole chicken. A lot of us are too lazy to do this anymore, but I grew up in a house where all we ever bought was the whole chicken. You take the whole chicken, and that's it there, and you make three meals out of the one chicken. It's just more economical.
I think the biggest thing is you got to plan. You got to plan ahead. You can't. I am so bad for this. I get off work and I call Meg. I'm like, "What do you want for dinner tonight?" Go in. You buy the store. And you buy one onion. You cut a little bit off. The rest of the onion goes. Whatever. Right. You got to plan ahead.
You got to plan.
So with this, you buy a whole chicken, and if you've got, this is for 2 people, but it's a family of 4. You buy 2 chickens. But basically, you can get the butcher to break it down. You don't have to start doing butchery. But, you got 2 breasts. You can make that into some sandwiches. That's one meal right there. You roast them off. You can grill them, do anything you want, or you can just make a pasta out of them. The bones are interesting because you can make a stock out of it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later in the show. But great soups and things like that. And then the actual legs, and that's what we're going to do right now, but we're going to turn it into a nice little casserole.
It's my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's, taking advantage of the fact that right now it is all about what's cheap, or it's winter vegetables. Like the squash it's inexpensive, and you get a great yield out of that.
For sure.
You get a full butternut squash, you cut that down, and away you go.
It's going to fill you up. It's super good for you. So why not use what's in season right now? I guess you just have to get a little bit more creative.
Yeah. So we've got squash, we've got onions, and I think that's it. And don't be afraid. I always say fresh, but sometimes you do have to buy canned. Okay. Like canned artichokes.
Delicious.
It's nothing wrong with that.
They're not the cheapest, they're not the most expensive, but again, the yield, you open that up, they're already trimmed down, everything is usable. You can get a lot out of that. So, what I'm doing here is I've taken the leg, cut it down to a drumstick and a thigh. So, each person can have one of each. And then you're just gonna kind of like, just sear it up a little bit. But what I've got is the nice little pearl onions. It's all raw, just cut up nice and chunky. I find squash cooks a little bit faster than most things. So I cut it a little bit bigger.
Got it.
And that's the thing when you're cooking is if you want to throw everything in at the same time, but if everything cooks at a different time, cut them a different size.
Think about the
so
size.
they'll get the same cooking, right?
Smart.
Fennel. A lot of flavor out of fennel, right? I mean, you get fennel into something, you really get that flavor come through. It's very inexpensive. A big bulb, cut that up, you can serve a lot of people on that.
Good.
Good it's a beautiful texture when it's fresh, but it's even a cool texture when it's cooked.
Definitely.
Nice.
Oh yeah. And the great thing with that is all the trim from the fennel, the trim from the squash, the trim from this can go into your soup.
Into your stock, right?
Again, sharing up. So, you throw in some onions in here, let them roast off. And you can actually, if you're in a rush, you can actually turn the pan up really hot, brown this, and then remove them, and then just put all your vegetables in. But I mean, if you're kind of taking your time, turn the heat down a little bit, you can just put everything in at once, like that.
Oh, smell that, huh?
Carrots, isn't it
It
great already?
smells so good.
It's already.
And you gotta
Dinner's
think,
almost ready, even though we just started. Smells good, not quite, huh?
yeah, chicken tartare, raw chicken, not so good. You know? But the great thing of this, though, is now we're cooking all the vegetables in the flavors that's coming out of the chicken.
Right.
So it's really going to, but also dishes, one pot. Hello. I like
That's
that.
the best thing ever.
You know. But then I was talking about canned. You can buy canned beans. You know, you
Beans will fill you up.
Rice is inexpensive.
Fairly
Beans is inexpensive. A lot of volume, a lot of filling, you know, and you can put that right in there. And, you know, already all the flavors start to develop.
So the casseroles, the dishes that you can make in bulk, you know, the things that are going to be sort of served family style, that's where you're going to want to go if you're trying to save
I think so. You know, and I think it works perfect for this time of year because when you come summertime, you want to go with those nice fresh ingredients and just really, you know, asparagus is around, all that kind of stuff, and it'll be inexpensive because it's grown local.
Yes.
Right? With this, though, I'm going to add a little bit of butter in there just because when I was writing the recipe, and I was
Is
like,
butter cheap? Because you're using a lot of it.
yeah.
How much does butter cost?
You know what? Well,
don't worry about it.
I won't buy that can of Coke tomorrow. Let me put a little extra butter in there.
It's fine. The chicken thighs don't have any fat in them at all.
Yeah,
Just need a bit of extra help.
they need that little bit of flavor. And then stock, if you get smart and you make the stock this time, you can freeze it and then you can use the one from last time so you're not buying the stock.
Right.
But if you want, you can put a bit of stock in there. You can make a vegetable stock. And if you're really kind of keeping it, you know, tight, you can put a little bit of water in there and braise them down too, and then that will be a nice stock for next time.
I know a lot of people are going meatless in their homes with their families.
Yeah.
Are you thinking as restaurant owners that you're going to have to start putting more of those kind of veggie-inspired meals on your menus?
It has to happen.
It has to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
You have to accommodate everyone.
Well, and I think the thing is you can get creative too in the way that, you know, vegetables should be there in a dish. I mean, I think the days of putting a steak on a plate and maybe, you know, some carrots on the side, you need more than that. That's not a complete dish.
Yeah.
You've got to think
Broccoli and
healthier than
onion.
that anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Healthier, but also, I mean, it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, well, and that's it. So shrink the size of the steak down, give some more
Right.
vegetables, give some more of this. You're still just as full, and I think you feel a lot better when you finish. So,
Absolutely.
So with this, you're going to pop it in the oven, cook it for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can, if you could pass me that over there.
Yep.
Look at that. Simple, nice braised. That is
Isn't that
one
gorgeous?
portion right there. You know, I mean, you can get that, and what you end up with is beautiful. You know, I've got a green apple, which are cheap, tomatoes, chicken sandwich. You got a nice little casserole, and then a chicken noodle soup.
Very nice.
3 meals.
So, I mean, and if it's my family and you're dealing with my kids, you just split that in half.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to eat anyway.
There you go.
So there you go. You fed a family of
Absolutely.
4 there with that. Really nice.